Hi guys, welcome to an episode of The Armourer's Bench with me, Rich Fisher. It seems like I've taken over, but it's not, because Matt's here to hold my hand as I deviate from the Vickers MG videos for a while. Hashtag not just Vickers MG. We have a video now to talk about the Sniper Bren myth that exists in... Well, let's say it's a myth to start with, but the Sniper Bren account that exists in Siege of Jadotville, which Matt and Robbie dealt with on Fighting on Film.
Yeah, over on the Fighting on Film podcast, we took a look at Siege of Jadotville, and one of the scenes in that is where the sniper calls for the Bren on single shot.
Sniper! What? Can you hit the schoolhouse?
Yeah! Bren on a single shot! I need the Bren!
He's going to take a 400 to 600 yard, it's difficult to tell in the film, shot at a guy in a white suit, because you've got to wear your whites when you're on a battlefield. And yeah, so the sniper lays down his scoped number 4T. We haven't got it here with us at the moment, but, and calls for a Bren. And then he proceeds to single load it. Which is something we're also going to test today as well. So we're going to look at the veracity of single loading a Bren without a mag.
Yep.
And then we're also going to test, is the Bren more accurate at ranges?
Is there any reason you would choose a Bren over a number 4T? So worth saying, the number 4 that we've got here, we've got the number 4T at the range. We're picking that up there. And the Mark III Bren that we're using is actually, it's a Mark 1 body with a Mark 3 barrel, but it's mainly that barrel length that's bringing in the accuracy.
Exactly.
Some additional weight, but then we've got the Mark 1, the Mark 2, an AL4 to show as well, so the 7.62 NATO AL4.
Yep.
And we're just going to take the opportunity to do 5 rounds from each weapon, from a range of shooters as well, with different experiences, and see what comes up.
Yeah, so we have a quite an experienced shot, and then we have trained but not skilled, I would say, shooting the Bren over this kind of distance.
Yeah.
One of the guys is very experienced with service rifle shooting.
Tom and Kev,
they both are.
Regular competition shooters. Your last sort of competition shoot was...
about 18 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's quite a while back now. COVID.
My last target shoot was probably about 100 metres when I was 16, so that's 22 years ago. And my last shoot at 400 was probably even longer than that, so when I was 12 or 13 with the Army Cadet Force. We'll have those different shots, average them out, or look at it differently and produce those figures of merit to see what it all tells us.
Yeah, bring the data together and take a look and see whether we can either bust or confirm the Sniper Bren myth. That obviously is part of the whole, sort of myth, or perhaps just, understanding of the Bren's actual capabilities. It's definitely an accurate light machine gun, but is it as accurate as a sniper rifle?
Yeah, absolutely. And it may tell us some more stuff about different marks of Bren, and it probably, like all good academic research, result in more questions.
Yep.
An answer of it depends, and there'll be a lot of caveats. So we'll go through those as the video progresses.
Yeah. So for the test, we used a Bren Mark 1, a Mark 2, and a Mark 1 with a Mark 3 barrel, as Rich mentioned earlier, and a 7.62 by 51 L4. The Brens went up against a rifle number 4T, which has a number 32 3.5 power telescopic sight. To replicate the scene from the film, we shot a 5-round group at 100 and 400 yards with each weapon, keeping the Bren on semi-automatic.
So Matt, we've measured up and we've got all the results in front of us. So yeah, we've been through all the targets, measured them like,
Worked out figure of merit for them.
Figure of merit, yeah.
Yeah. So to explain figure of merit, well, let's let Rob over at British Muzzleloaders do that for us. He has a great video which provided the spreadsheet for us to calculate all of this. It basically just takes a representative measurements of the X and Y axis, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it does magic. It takes numbers and does magic and produces more numbers and pictures.
Yeah.
The most important of those numbers is this figure of merit figure, which is what, as Rob explains quite nicely, it is what British military small arms are sort of gauged against, really.
Yeah, historically speaking.
Yeah. So we've been able to take all those for all of the shooters, all of the different weapons, and put them in a nice little table to create some comparisons. Some of the caveats, of course, already. We've got a complete data set at 100 yards for 4 different types of Bren gun and the number 4T, of which we then had the Mark III for everybody, so 4 shooters, with Tom, Kev, Matt and myself in that order of sort of proficiency, really. Then at 400 yards, as you said, the sort of the excuses are there. We've got, wind and that range, so we've got a lot of missing data. But I think we've probably got enough data to start to answer some questions.
Yeah, I think so. So the red indicates there's an issue with the data is not full set, so there'll be a miss or hit on the frame off the target, and we can't quite measure what that is, but we do have a complete data set for the number 4T, and we've got fairly representative data that gives us some indications that at 400 yards the 4T is superior to the marks of Bren that we tried that day.
Yeah, so we had the Mark 1, Mark 2 and Mark 3, and we all shot the Mark 3. Which is the one that we're pretty sure they're Mark 3s, aren't they? In Irish Army service.
They appear to be Mark
60s.
3s in the contemporary photographs from the Congo with the actual Irish troops.
Yeah, so that's the one we all shot. We decided to do that. I suppose just to sort of talk through the data, really, in the.
So what does the 100 yard data set say to you?
It says to me that there is no reason in any case that you would pick a Bren of any mark over the number 40.
Yeah.
Everything foul as we'd have thought it would in terms of shooter versus shooter quality.
Yeah.
In terms of the figure of merit. Some personal surprises of that. So pleased with those. But they work, and in terms of the comparisons between the 40 and the Mark III, they work as well. And what we've done is, because we're obviously comparing different shooters and different weapons, we've done an average, a mean of the figures of merit for the Mark III and the figures of merit for the Mark IV, for 4T. And we've also done a combined figure of merit where we've taken the 5 rounds of each shooter, put into a single table to produce a single figure of merit. So that we've got those 2 different comparisons. They say the same thing. They say that there is, the 40 is more accurate.
Difference.
Yeah, there is a noticeable difference. That's right.
It's not as wide as you would imagine at 100, but at 100 you would expect the Bren to have pretty decent reasonable accuracy. I mean, the manual itself even says that you can expect fairly decent accuracy with the Bren on repetition. Single shot.
Absolutely, yeah, it does. And the same sort of thing exists, but we'll have to explain it in a much more qualitative way at 400. But I think that with all the data we've got, plus those sort of combat factors that come into decision making in conflict.
Exactly. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, in the film, he's shown as hitting everything he aims at, basically. So it starts with the bell, and then he starts picking off guys when they're coming in to attack. And it just seems to me that it's a weird choice to go from that rifle that he knows, and he knows the state of at that moment. He knows how many rounds he's put through it. To go to
a Bren from somebody else that's been firing away throughout the battle.
Exactly.
Mags.
Yeah.
And you've got no idea of the state of the barrel at that point either.
So one of the other things that we wanted to test from the scene was how the Bren was loaded. The Irish sniper is seen thumbing around into the breach. After discussion at the range, we decided that it may not be safe or necessary to replicate this at the range with live ammo. Instead, we decided to see how easy it was to single load with the drill purpose Bren.
So back here with the L54 with the DP gun, and just really talk through why that wasn't safe. So if we take the gun, checking it's on safe, open up the ejection cover and magazine cover, cop the action, and then you sort of have to get that single round and get really in there and push it home, which I've already missed on that go, and it will get stuck. So that sort of goes to show the dangers of doing so. And with people not wholly used to using the Bren, there we go, we got it in there. So then you can fire it, and it will eject, and you can do the same again, and probably better that time. But you really have to get it home to be safe. Which, when we're on a range with ball ammunition, that just wasn't a safe task to do. So quite different to how you'd see it in the film, where potentially they're in action and safety regs aren't coming in completely.
So it looks, when you put the tip of the cartridge in, it looks like you're going to go in, but then it sort of like dips into the...
catches.
Yeah. Okay. Got it in one on that one, but I think that was beginner's luck. So, I can imagine when you're actually doing this in action, it would be exponentially more fiddly, because, as Rich demonstrated, it's so easy to just drop it straight through the action. Because when you're lining it up, you're having to use the tips of your fingers and your thumb, and then once you're halfway in, you're sort of using the rim of the cartridge to sort of hold it and then thumb the round in. Like that. See? See, and that's gone into the gas piston. So there we go. So I think from the data we can see that it doesn't really support what we see in the film.
Absolutely not. I think both quantitatively, qualitatively, there's just
So it looks like Sniper Bren, the myth is busted.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think it'd be really great to revisit this and do it with perhaps some of the mount it on a tripod, try burst fire. I think that'd be interesting to see whether bursts have a similar sort of dispersion.
I think what we're looking at then is outside the scope of what the film tries to portray.
Yeah, exactly.
And just try and understand more and more about this whole thing about Bren accuracy.
Yeah, because this plays into that whole sort of understanding of the Bren's inherent accuracy.
Yeah.
And the myth that is sort of growing around that. And it's not to deny that the Bren is an accurate weapon.
I mean, and well, certainly you can see the iterations in the machine, in the marks, how they differ in accuracy.
Yeah.
Something I'd really like to understand a bit more. You know, comparing it with the AL4, the data on there was just amazing. You know, the AL4
That
seemed
was a very nice gun.
Yeah, but you know, it doesn't differ much from the Mark III. So you know, it was just quite nicer to. It was a bit nicer to shoot.
I think it was built up a Mark II, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I think that's maybe a Mark 1M. I can't quite remember.
We'll check.
Yeah, but you know, it's one of those things that we just need to understand a bit more about the Brens, how they compare.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. I think the whole thing about the 40 versus the Bren, which would you choose if you're trying to make an accurate shot? You'd have the 40.
Yeah. If I was a sniper and I needed to make a shot that was only slightly more distant than the ones he's already been taking, I think I would definitely stick with the rifle in hand.
Yeah.
So there we go, guys. We hope you enjoyed that. There's been a little bit of sort of practical archaeology, trying to bust a myth from a film, and not something we normally do, but quite fun.
Yeah.
A lot of fun on the range. So do check out Rich's channel.
Vickers MG Collection and Research Association.
I can never get that straight all the way on the first shot. Yeah. But yes, Vickers MG. Definitely check Rich's channel out. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can support the channel via Patreon, but please do share the video with friends. Thanks, guys.